Look, I want to apologise to you right up front. And there is more than 5 pillars and 5 strategies we're going to be able to go through today. But it does come down to 5 fundamental components that I guarantee when we bring those into play, and these into play within our business, the impact it's going to have is absolutely extraordinary. And one of the things that many of you know that I love independent agencies because there is a real independent advantage, providing you're utilising it to be able to capitalise on this. And I'd like to share that with you today and go through it. For those of you that don't know me, Michael Sheargold, I've been involved in the profession for a couple of decades. That started through an amazing association with John McGrath in his independent days and a 12-year coaching relationship with him. Started work, John, when he had the 2-story terrace and 4 people in the sales team. And that's evolved into, Real Estate Results Network and providing amazing programs that are making a difference for our clients out there in the marketplace. So thanks so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. And my goal is to make sure this is great impact and will give you a lot of value to be able to take back and apply immediately. And for some of you, there might be an opportunity there for us to do some additional work beyond this, whether that is, seeing you at Business of Real Estate later this year in September, or it might be doing a bespoke program or looking even at Real Estate Results Network as an opportunity for you to advance and go through it. 4 things I'd like to drop in to the conversation up front. And these are 4 components that I think we need to take advantage of in the marketplace. The first one is the team who plays the conditions best wins. Note I didn't say the best team, the team who plays the conditions best wins. So the conditions in most marketplaces are having some kind of movement, some kind of change. Some are moving faster than other markets, but there's no question about it. We need to actually get into the mindset of our team. The team that plays the conditions best is going to win. First point. The second thing to make a note of is a confused mind stalls. And the problem with this is it will look like a team member's being lazy or procrastinating, or it could be you and I, we're being lazy and procrastinating. No, we're just confused. So our goal with our team is to move them from a level of confusion to a level of clarity, because that's when they'll get into go mode. That's when they'll put the energy and effort in that's needed in these market conditions to be able to capitalize on it. The team who plays the conditions best wins. Secondly, a confused mind stalls. The third one is big plays happen in a changing market. So a big play, well, this is the time that you have the ability far more than any other time to be able to shift market share growth, to shift your goals, to tweak your model, to be able to pop into another kind of market momentum than ever before. So if we take on board big plays happen in a changing market, by the way, it's on my voicemail message. So if you left me a voicemail, you'll hear that particular quote. How do we take advantage of that? And the final one that I'd love us to get into the conversation is that real estate is a market. And I think a lot of the times we forget that. So the assumption that a lot of the market has globally, in actual fact, but certainly the Australian marketplace, the New Zealand marketplace, lean into this massively. And that is, if I buy a property, I will always make a profit. So there's an expectation that year on year, value will increase. So even though I might have bought the property 5 years ago, I've had 4 years of growth. I may not have the last 6 months of growth. So we need to actually help them understand that real estate is a market. So if I bought shares in a company 12 months ago, I would buy them under those market conditions. And if I wanted to sell them today, I would sell them under these market conditions. So we need to help, firstly, our team, and then secondly, the ability for the team to articulate that value creation and the recognition that real estate is a market. So just 4 that we need to have into the mix as we get into it. The other thing is I've got to make 4 assumptions for us to work together in this time frame. The first thing is your brand works in the marketplace. Now, I'm going to challenge you a little bit on that as we get into the session. But one, you've got a brand that works for your marketplace. It resonates in some particular way with the marketplace, both from a client point of view and as well as a team point of view. So there's some brand pride that they have as being part of the team. First one. The second one is that you're committed to growth. And I fundamentally believe the work I do is I grow the people and then the business goes along for the ride. So the business won't outperform the people in the business. The people will hold the business back or accelerate the actual growth of the business. So you're up for growth. The third one is your model works. So if I put more volume through your model, more drops through to the bottom line. So you've got the structure in place to make that happen. I'm not going to cover model in any massive way here, but if you need some support on that, please put your hand up. Happy to have a conversation with you offline around, does your model actually work to drop not just the vanity figure, which is what's the volume in the business, but actually what's the profitability, which is the true sanity in the business. And then the final one is that you have a level of commitment to making this happen. Why? Because if you're not committed, the team will actually mirror the commitment that you've got for the growth, the development, and the performance of the business. Just a few layers that we wanted to put into the conversation up front. Can I just get a little yes, you're all clear on those, or yes, you're all around them? Maybe I've already challenged you already on some of those. Thanks, Jason. Thanks, Ed. Thanks, Rebecca. Appreciate it. Great, Mark. A double yes. Thanks, Judy. Awesome. Great. Peter, thank you. Excellent, Rich. Kiad, thank you. Great, Alan. Okay, awesome. So let's actually look at this independent advantage that you have the ability to take advantage of. Doesn't mean you are, but I'd love you to make sure you do it. I'm going to grab the flip chart. Self-managed flip chart sort of delivery. I'm, by the way, loving this in the context. So if we look at the focus, there's a very, very simple success formula, and that is decisions multiplied by actions equal results. Simple. So let's actually just look at franchise for a moment. Sometimes the franchise doesn't have the ability to make the decision because they're sitting in a bigger context. Sometimes they can't do the action because the brand guidelines say, no, you can and can't do that. Or it's a territory issue or it's something along those lines. And therefore, they're limited in terms of the impact on the result. Let's bring an independent agency. You are the leader of the business. Now, that means you have the ability to make a decision, you have ability to take the action, and you have ability, therefore, to have the biggest impact on the result in your marketplace. Now, just because you have it doesn't mean you're utilizing it, because sometimes we can move into a mode. Let me draw this up for you. If this is a business timeline, this is the past, this is now the present, and this is the future. A lot of the time, what we see in business, we can be in this past-present loop. And it's been good. If we go back to March 2020, who would have thought we'd be in the market conditions or had the market conditions that were gifted to us? And I talk a lot about being market-driven or being strategy-driven. So market-driven, a rising tide floats all boats. You know this. What we want to do is make sure we underpin and wrap strategy into what we're doing. So no matter what the market dynamics and market conditions, we can capitalize on the markets. And real estate is not about sale price, it's about volume. So how do you get more than your fair share of market share so you and your team are incredibly well rewarded through this process? So the past-present loop exists. What your team are looking for, firstly, is for you to have a compelling vision, to have a future that I can buy into. And I talk about it, we've got some familiar faces on the Zoom, or familiar names, I should say, on the Zoom today, where I want to be able to see my vision within your vision. So your vision always needs to be bigger than the vision of any individual. If your vision is not bigger than the individual, what can easily happen is I can bump out and I'll do my own thing. Thank you very much. And this is one of the big challenges, because we've been looking at the past present loop. What someone else is looking at is the future loop. So what's the future? What's the compelling future? And making sure that we're reinforcing that enough so someone can actually almost dock into that, seeing their vision within your vision. It's sort of like a yin-yang kind of process. What this means with a compelling vision of the future, back to decisions, actions, results, we've been in a mode that we could ride the marketplace very easily and capitalize on that marketplace. My slight anxiety, I'm going to show you some stats and reviews today. What we need to do is recognize the shift that we need to have is say, well, this is where we want to be in the future. What changes need to come into now in order for this future to actually be created? So rather than this past present loop, as a business, as an independent agency, you've got this ability to have this future present loop. That future present loop means you start to go, based on the result that we're wanting to achieve, let me reverse engineer and look at the decisions that I want to make. If the decisions I need to make and the actions I need to take in order to get there. So I talk about QD, the quality of the decision. Can you enhance the quality of decision? I'm going to say absolutely yes. And for every team member that you've got, you're expanding the number of decisions that they're actually making. Second thing is, can we be more committed? So CA is commitment to action. Can we be more committed to the action? Because I've seen situations where a business does a really good job, amazing job of the decisions they're actually making, and they forget the other part of the puzzle, which is, well, great decision, but the problem is you didn't implement it. Many of you know the quote I'm most known for is the power of an idea is in its implementation. We think the power's in the idea. No, it's how well we implement it within our business that will ultimately achieve the result. This is the independent advantage. You want to change your email signatures. You want to change the way your phone's being answered. You want to actually increase your signboards. You want to change that. You want to do a rebrand. You want to freshen up your brand. You want to change the way you're marketing, the way you're perceived on social. You have the ability to do all that because it's an absolute independent advantage. Now, just because you have it doesn't mean you're utilizing it. And maybe this is a trigger for you to say, okay, I can take this to another level. When you do, guarantee the result, which is growth, market share, opportunity, team members being even more engaged in your brand in the future, that will be super exciting. So I wanted to sort of lay that foundation in here and recognize that market driven versus strategy driven, we really are shifting into the mode of being strategy driven to capitalize on the market conditions. So can I just do a little check? Are you all good with that? That frame as such. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So thank you, guys. Awesome. So, by the way, this is a really great frame to do with your team as well. So a lot of these little grabs, you can take this and do this as a session with your team. And I think they'll get a huge amount of value out of how to take this on board and apply it. The next thing that I thought would be really useful for us to talk about, and we are going to get to some slides just in case you're wondering, Michael, where are the slides? I've got them. Well, I wanted to just chat with you about the two key ingredients to growing a sales business. Interesting enough, it's quite similar from a property management business, but property management is a little lumpier because we need to hire to grow, then we go through growth, then we need to rehire to grow again and hire to grow again. So even though we think growth happens in a straight line, it doesn't. There's all of these little lumpiness that go there. What we want to do is that not have a straight line lumpiness. We want to have an incline. The lumpiness is still going up in a northerly direction, certainly not neutral and certainly not a southerly direction with it.